This week, I found the exact same blind spot showing up twice in my reality. Once in how I was following up on a deal, and another time in the way I was pricing my program. Although it may look like two different disparate scenarios unrelated to one another and it seems all about business, the pattern that I noticed is something all of us may be able to relate to, which is the pattern of waiting for someone else to take action before we will feel that we have already accomplished the outcome that we have wanted and living in that identity and in that energy. It shows up whether you're closing a deal, whether you're asking for a raise at workplace, or whether you're setting a boundary with somebody else, or the way you command your worth in a room that you walk into. By the end of this video, you will know the exact question that I asked myself that broke me out of this pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You will start to notice and ask yourself, where is it that you are experiencing this pattern for yourself? Stick around, because the third time this pattern showed up for me this week, it almost cost me the most. Hi, my name is Ajita. Welcome to my YouTube channel. With over 20 years of corporate executive experience, I am now the consciousness architect and spiritual advisor for tech leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals that are ready to upgrade their internal leadership operating system to lead in visionary level in this world. What I share with you in this video is my live business building experience. I'm not building this business from hustle and grind. Instead, I'm using what I call the 7I Pathway of Conscious Cocreation, where the 7 I's are infinite field, intention, identity, imagination, intuitive decisions, inspired actions, and inevitable results. This is my live case study of taking my business to $4.4 million in 12 months or less using the proprietary framework of mine, which is the 7I Pathway of Conscious Cocreation, and also the Epic Leadership Operating System framework, where Epic Leadership Operating System, E stands for emotional, P for physical, I for intellectual, C for consciousness operating systems. Week by week, you will see invisible shifts creating visible results. We are now on week 24. So here's the incident that happened this week. I had a prospect that I mentioned about in my last week 23 video, where we had this sales conversation and the person said they're going to make arrangement for funds and come back over the next 2 weeks. I sought some mentorship advice on how to actually deal with this, because I felt like didn't hold myself in the capacity of an advisor or a coach that can actually help my client or a prospect make the decision. My mentor said, well, typically when people say they have to make arrangement for funds, it could be one of two things. One is that they genuinely have that challenge. The other is the possibility that they're just using this as a way to convince themselves that this is really worthwhile an investment for them to make. Now, there's no way to know except based on the question I get to ask. So her advice to me was, whenever somebody says that they need to make arrangement for funds, unless they're taking a loan, which genuinely requires time and process involved, you can ask for them to put a deposit down that will show whether there is something besides money that becomes a challenge for them, that is really a challenge for them. Then you can address it. So I tuned into my intuition. So here's the one thing that I've started doing. Just because somebody tells me to do something, even though it's a mentor that I have paid money and I'm coaching with them for my growth, I always tune back into my intuition. And it felt right for me to ask the person to see if they are able to make a deposit and start sooner than they plan to. And it felt right because energetically, just tuning into the sensation of, okay, is this the right step for not just me because I'm looking for getting them started, but is this really the right step for them? And so the minute I tuned in there, it became clear for me that it felt right, timing felt right, messaging felt right. So I messaged them and said, I understand if funds are the real concern, how about we make a deposit and get you started, and you can make arrangements for the rest as you move along. The prospect has not responded to me back yet. I have messaged 2 times already and that there has been no response. But I think for me, the lesson in this process is 2 things. Number one, the learning that anytime I talk to somebody who's interested in working with me, my helping them to make decisions to work with me and move forward in that direction already is a process in which they're engaging me in a coaching advisory capacity. So as an advisor, it is equally my role to hold them to that intention of their next best version that they want to become and to launch whatever that they want to launch next. Then it becomes a part of my process and responsibility to bring awareness that the sooner I can help them make that decision, the better it is for them. Not because I need something in the process, but that's exactly what they desire too. And the second thing that became clear to me is the energy in which I'm staying, feeling that I'm holding when I'm in the in-between process where the person has made the decision but hasn't taken the action. There is that in-between space, and what is the energy I'm holding? Am I still wondering if they're going to come? Am I still attached to them making that action, or am I able to help them make that action with my support, right? So there's an energy in which I am sitting. So becoming aware of the fact that, okay, am I acting as if I already know that this person is already my client? And if they're already my client, how would I lead them through this process? So it kind of merges with the first thing that I talked about as well. The next day, a similar pattern showed up where I have actually engaged a person to do my meta ads, and I was ready to move forward, but I could only make payment using a credit card. And I asked her if there's a way I could do that. And she said, no, it's okay. We'll wait until you get your funds in the bank account. In my head, instantly, I had this thought, oh, it's going to take a while. And I caught myself with that thought, and I'm like, which part of me believes that it's going to take a while for me to receive funds in my bank account? Where is that belief even coming from? So both of these incidents created a cascade of emotions, physical actions, beliefs, and identity. So emotionally, I felt good about that experience of asking the person to move forward sooner, as well as catching my own belief. And in terms of action, I will say that the pattern I saw is the waiting pattern. Like, I will wait when the client is ready or the prospect is ready. I'll wait for them to take action. I will wait until money is in the bank before I'll take action. So there's this waiting sensation or the energy that I was in that I had to catch myself very, very consciously. And I think the bottom line of this for me is the belief that it is going to be a while before things will change. I think there's an undercurrent of it takes time. I think we all can resonate and relate with it, that it takes time to ABC, fill in the blanks. It takes time to fill in the blanks. And so I have now started becoming very aware of asking myself, where all do I believe it takes time to? And what if that's not true? Because in reality, quantum physics says that time doesn't exist. It is a factor of us experiencing the reality that we are in, that we feel that there is time and space. But when you think of quantum physics and singularity, there is no time or space. So everything is happening in the now moment. So how can I bring more of my presence to the now? And how can I be more in the awareness of whatever that I desire is already complete and fulfilled? How can I stay in that knowing without putting more beliefs into my operating system that it's going to take time, it's going to take money, it's going to take effort? All of that is a heavy amount of beliefs that are running in the operating system. The deepest level, of course, identity for me was I'm not a person that waits for things to happen. I take action. But at the same time, what has become very, very, very clear on a cellular level, on a very deep level this week for me, is the awareness of complete surrender. So for the longest term, I could not understand how to be certain about an outcome and yet be detached from it, meaning surrendered and letting go of, whether it happens or not, I'm fine. I have had many, many mentors that I've worked with that have told me this very exact same thing. I think finally it's landing on in my system, in the physical operating system, is this, that you are certain about the fact that you are that individual, that identity that you're desiring to be. In my case, I am certain that I'm already a multimillionaire businesswoman. Okay, let's just say that is my identity. That's what I'm tracking this entire YouTube series on. Now, I'm certain about that outcome. What is not clear doesn't mean it's not certain. What's not clear is the how and the when. And so I have done a lot of coaching, self-coaching. 10K walks have been the best coaching times for me. I've done so much of self-coaching in truly understanding that the destination of the what is already done. The intention of $4.4 million in the business revenue within 12 months, which is February 2027, is already done. That intention is now complete because I'm holding that identity, right? Going back to the 7I conscious co-creation, I connected with the infinite field. I set the intention of $4.4 million. I'm living in the identity of that $4.4 million businesswoman. That 3 parts are done. Imagination, I'm imagining it's already done. What would I be doing? This week, I've spent a lot of time in imagining what are the steps that I would take. I already know I'm moving out of the place I'm living in. I know where I'm going to go, location-wise, not the exact home or anything, but I know which city I'm moving to next. I already know what are the various things I'm going to be buying as I hit each one of these $1 million revenue outcomes. I know exactly what I'm going to be buying in celebration of it. So I'm already planning in my imagination, I'm already living in that reality, right? And so the intuitive decision that comes after that is where I'm at. I'm taking this, every decision I'm taking, every action I'm taking is intuitive and inspired. Those two is what is driving me right now. And so what I've realized is that my intention is very clear. I'm very certain. There is very, very deep level of certainty with which I'm walking right now, everywhere, in how I show up, because that's the identity. The part where people say you have to detach and surrender, right? Be detached about the outcome and surrender it is the part about the how and the when. Because as our human operating system, our mind, what I call the ego self, automatically wants to control the outcome. It wants to control the how, it wants to control the when. And that is the part where I think I've had the hardest time in mastering this aspect, to say, okay, I'm not going to control or micromanage the how or the when. Yes, I have an intention of February 2027, but I'm not going to complain if I only hit, half of that revenue, or 1/3 of that revenue, or 3/4 of that revenue by February. I'm perfectly fine with however far I reach by February 2027. I'm not going to be beating myself up or making a fool of myself. Those narratives are all gone, because I'm publicly building this with a very particular intention, with a very particular way of building a business that is highly balanced with feminine leading, masculine following. Feminine is intention, feminine is imagination, feminine is identity, and masculine is action, masculine is decision, masculine is results. So I am really combining the mechanics of feminine and masculine in my business, and becoming a role model for how businesses need to be built moving forward in the new world that we are marching into, where there's going to be heavy dominance of technology, AI, and a lot of fast-paced things are going to unfold. In the middle of all of that, how do we keep our sanity and build something that is lasting, that is soul-aligned, that is bringing joy and has plenty of rest and recovery and rejuvenation and recreation and prosperity, right? It's all of that. So as a role model leading this way of business building, my biggest lesson has been how to let go of the controlling aspect of the mind on the how and the when. So the point I'm trying to make of the consciousness, the identity aspect is this, that this week it has become so clear to me that I now fully understand, and I now can live in that aspect where I know I've set an intention and I'm completely surrendered and detached about the how it shows up and when it shows up. It has been a massive leap of consciousness and awareness for me, because I have set certain intentions for July, month of July. We are 3 days away from the end of the month, but I set an intention for what revenue I'll make this month, and I'm completely unattached to whether it happens or not. But it is not freaking me out. It's not stressing me out. I'm not worried about it. I don't feel the need to micromanage it. I'm completely in a peaceful, calmful, nervous system, completely regulated state. And that is, to me, the testament of the new identity being anchored and embodied. What does embody means? It feels true in your body. You can think that you are a $4.4 million businesswoman, but your body, if it doesn't align with it, it's going to freak out with every big monetary decision that you make. When your bank balance is not reflecting what you need to be investing, when your inflow is not reflecting what you're desiring, your nervous system cannot and will not lie. So what I'm celebrating this week with this experience is the fact that my nervous system has been super calm through every one of these things. Nothing much has changed on the outside, but everything has changed on the inside. And that is when in the ladder of belief that I've talked about before, you start from needing something to wanting something to believing something to knowing something is yours. Okay, so I've moved up this ladder in the last 6 months. Started with needing to be a $4.4 million businesswoman, to wanting to be one, to believing that it's possible for me, to now finally be in a place where I know that I am already that. And it has taken quite a bit of clearing upgrading on the EPIC leadership operating system, emotionally, physically, intellectually, and identity wise. And thereby the outer reality has got no choice but to catch up to this energetic frequency and the version of me. Another event that unfolded was my self-realization that I have been pricing my Epic Leaders Collective offering at $6,800 from a place of what if nobody joins? It's like, let's make it easy for people to join. It became a clear awareness this past Saturday for me that I have to bring the price up to $10,400, and it is already now priced at $10,400 for a 6-month journey with me in that collective offering. And it became so clear. It became super clear that that reason why that was not moving forward is because the pricing was, I was underpricing. And if I truly believed in the worth and the value of what someone will get when they get into that space, $10,400 is a no-brainer investment for the value that they will derive from being in that space with that level of leap that they can get to have in their journey. What's in it for you? Why should you be listening to this? What's your takeaway? You don't have to be running a business to recognize this pattern. It may be the promotion that you have not asked for yet because you want to see, okay, let me see how the next mid-year review goes through or year-end review goes through. It's the raise you haven't requested because you're waiting for somebody else to notice your value that you're bringing to your organization. So where in your work or life are you waiting for permission for that one thing that you know you can ask for today, but you haven't asked for yet? And before we wrap up this video, I do want to say a couple of things. I'm celebrating the fact that I have submitted my first draft manuscript to the editor. Yes, I've finished writing the book. It is now shipped to the editor and the editor has come back with the initial comments. So I'm excited about it because I have kept to the deadline that I promised to the author, Neil Donald Walsh, that he will have my document or book to him before August 14th. I'm way ahead of schedule and I'm celebrating it. And if you like this content, if you've been following me in this series and you have derived benefit from it, please make sure that you like, you subscribe, and share this video with anybody that might benefit from this type of content. And please make sure that you are commenting what landed for you from this episode that I've shared with you. And I would love to hear from you. This week taught me the difference between waiting for someone else to take action versus being patient. There are two different energies. Waiting for someone else to take action is being passive. But when you take action and the results are not yet in your reality, that's when you are asked to surrender and be completely in trust and in patience. And understanding the difference between those two things, which is waiting for someone else to take action and being passive versus being patient, made all the difference in how I showed up in this week. So I want to leave you with this question. Where in your life are you disguising something as being patient when actually what you're doing is waiting passively? Note the difference and then you will know exactly what action to take. And I will see you next week.